Hi folks, it's Jay. This time I want to tell you the true story behind my YouTube channel. Recently, I spent a Sunday afternoon with the Western New York Hosta Society, sharing some of the behind-the-scenes stories of my garden visit videos. Here is my untold story, accompanied by some visual snippets of the exceptional member gardens in Western New York Hosta Society. Every gardening season, I face one conundrum. I like to visit other people's gardens, and I like to having visitors in my own gardens, but I have limited time and energy. It is fun and exciting to receive visitors in the gardens, but it can be exhausting after talking about the garden for the 20th time on the day. I guess many gardeners would share the same experience as I had. But I didn't start my YouTube channel because of this reason. It started somewhat randomly from July 2023. When I was visiting a garden in the Open Gardens program in Western New York, I met the hosting gardeners there. They had a great turnout of visitors. Everyone was having a great time. During our conversation, I learned that they had been traveling and visiting families and friends, and how they wish their families and friends in other states can see their garden in the peak of the season. On a whim, I proposed to film a walkthrough video of their garden with some very simple equipment, essentially just my phone. At that time, I didn't even know that I need microphone to get good audio, as you can tell from many of my earlier videos. My simple idea was to preserve a beautiful garden in the peak of the season for the gardeners to share with their families and friends. I didn't even think about the logistics of sharing the garden until I got home. The size of the video file makes it difficult to transfer via emails or anything like that. At my wit's end, I tried uploading that video to YouTube and then sending the link to the gardeners, which they can then easily share with their family and friends for them to watch at any time and from anywhere. Completely unexpected, that video gained over 30,000 views soon after I uploading it to YouTube. I would say maybe a dozen or 2 dozen views were from their families and friends, a few hundred from people in our local area. The majority of the 30,000 views were from people who probably never heard of the Open Gardens program before or ever been to Western New York. It is true that many of the viewers, they may never actually physically visit the gardens, but does it really matter? In my eyes, my videos preserve the gardens for the gardeners, and YouTube give the world a chance to see the beauty we have created. It is a form of appreciation from one gardener to another. I spent the rest of my summer visiting and filming gardens and sharing them on YouTube. I didn't have much of a videography skills at first, but I learned something new every time I film, edit, and post a video. I strive to make my video worthy of the beauty the gardeners created and offered. As I would explain to the gardeners featured on my channel, the intention is to let them talk about their own gardens, their ideas and experiences, maybe also their struggles and frustrations. But everyone is different. Sometimes I have to add more questions and commentaries to keep the flow of the video. The idea is just like friends taking a stroll in the garden and having a casual conversation, which is how the name of my channel came about, Whispers in the Garden. It is about an intimate and relaxing moment that we shared in the gardens. Rather than constantly putting the gardeners in view, I make sure the focus of the video falls on the garden space, plants and garden arts, and the stories behind them. To respect the privacy of the gardeners, I don't mention or show addresses, and usually I use gardener's first name instead of full name. Now, let's talk about money. As we know, it is usually always behind everything in our life. But in this case, gardeners graciously open and share their gardens without any expectation of compensation. And I volunteer to film and produce the videos. No money is involved. When posted on YouTube, my videos do generate some royalty earnings through the advertising YouTube adds on. It is not sizable by any definition, and at this stage it probably doesn't even cover the time I put in. But I still devote a portion of my time in making those videos as my personal projects. In my eyes, the videos, they are a gift from gardeners to the entire world. But I do intend to give back. With the advertising earnings, I have made donations to causes that are important to gardeners who appeared on my channel and shared their gardens. If the earnings become sizable in the future, I do hope to support more gardeners and volunteer organizations. There are so many potentials and possibilities, but I cannot claim these are all my designs. I simply visit and capture gardens with my videos to give the entire world a chance to see them. So far, it has been a rewarding experience for me, for the gardeners, and for many, many visitors online. Here is one particularly moving message I received on my YouTube channel, and I want to share it here. Being in the desert southwest, such a thing as walking through someone's garden is almost too overwhelming. I cannot imagine what that is like. Folks out here are not like this. I never knew I was out of my element as much as I do right now. At last, I want to ask on behalf of the world, can I see your garden? And I hope the answer is yes.